Hey guys, welcome to the tutorial to build a solar system. There's another video that's me just kind of futzing around with stuff for an hour. It's a bit more complicated than this, but in general kind of works, but you should be able to use this tutorial to build the other solar system, but this one just has a few more steps and is a little bit cleaner. But for the assignment, what I was asking for at the minimum is a sun, 2 planets, and a moon that's orbiting one of the planets. So, but you can do it in kind of any order you want, but as long as it basically has 1, 2, 3, 4 spheres that kind of orbit each other. Just to kind of dissect this result a little bit. Where are you, Mr. Outliner? Why are you not here? Oh, I gotta. There's some issues with Maya while the timeline's playing. I think if I stop this, yeah, it pops in. So what we have here is what we're using something called locators, which is here. I had everything off on the viewport just so it looks cool. So if I turn everything back on, you can see the locators pop in. And I'm just using those to control some of the rotations. So I have a sun that's just a mesh. You can hit these plus signs and see how the locators are set up. And I've got like a Neptune orbiter and a Neptune offset axis, and then the actual planet. And then similar over here where we have a moon orbit and an Earth axis offset and an Earth mesh. So we'll rebuild this. Okay, here we go. So go File New, don't save. Settings, Preferences, Color, Reset. Save. Oh yeah, and then the grid. Okay, starting with the blank scene. I'm going to start a timer just because I was curious how long this takes. We'll see how long it takes. So start with create. So I'm holding space, create polygon primitive sphere. Got one sphere. I'm going to start by making that sphere spin 2000 on my time slider. It's kind of arbitrary where I put the other key. Start rotating it a little bit so we know what axis it is, and then hit 360 on this guy. Hit S to key it. So it'll spin, but it stops spinning. You can see it stop spinning. So in the graph editor, rotation, linear, loop, so you can see the curve now goes forever, and now the ball goes forever. So I want to make 4 of these guys for my different meshes. If I just dupe, so Control D duplicates, it does not duplicate by default the animation data. So if I turn on wireframe shaded, so I'm looking down on the tooltips menu to see what it's called, this button right here, I can then see only one of the 2 spheres is animated. So I want to duplicate the animation data to save myself some time. So I'm going to go under Edit, Duplicate Special, and then hit this option box right here. And then on the option box, the default settings, reset settings, you want to include Duplicate Input Graph, and then Apply. So that should give me 2 spheres, both animated. Oh, let me undo. I forgot a step. It's best to remove all the keys except for the thing that's animated. So there's only one red thing here. That means that's the only axis that is animated. So now I'm going to go duplicate special. It remembered my settings, I think. Let's double check. Okay, they're both moving. G is a hotkey that repeats last action. So, and G again, repeat last action. So now I've got 4 spheres all rotating. I'm going to name these guys Sun, because it's easier. Earth. Moon, Neptune. You can name them whatever you want. I'm just doing this just because it's easier. 0.5. We can set scales to kind of whatever you want. Moons are usually smaller than the planet they orbit. You can pick whatever scale you want. It's not really super specific. Set this up however you want. I'm going to go a little smaller on Neptune. Just because. Setting it to whatever I like. Okay. Let's get some color on these guys. Right click on the object you selected. Go assign new material. You can pick any of these you want. I'm picking Lambert just because it's a nice simple type of material. You can get into like materials later on. We can pick whatever color we want for the sun. Incandescence is a self-illumination. So if it's all the way up, it'll turn white. And then if we're actually using like a render machine, this will actually emit light and glow and stuff on incandescence. But I'm just adding a little bit of incandescence there so it looks cooler. Assign new material, Lambert. I'm going to pick a green color. All that I care about for the grading is that the colors are all different. So that way I know you know how to make a new material. New material, Lambert. Did I do it right? Lambert 4. You can name the materials if you want. It makes it easier, and I don't think I need to for this file. Okay, cool. Let's see. Are they still all rotating? We got rotation. Good. Okay, now so we want Neptune to orbit around the Sun, the Moon to orbit around the Earth, and the Earth to orbit around the Sun. We'll start with Neptune. If I just parent Neptune to the Sun, it will spin around the Sun. But what I am is I'm stuck with the speed of the Sun. Like if for whatever reason I want to make the Sun spin around really fast, I'm stuck with Neptune spinning around that fast. So one way to get around that is I'm going to undo, give me Neptune back. Is it still parented? I probably skipped over how parenting works, didn't I? Okay, so I'm going to create a new type of object. So let's create locator. I'm going to scale it. By default, they're usually kind of small. This one's pretty good size, but I mean, you can scale it to whatever size you want. I'm going to scale it so it's a little bit bigger than the Sun so I can grab it more easily. You could, if you lose it, you can always go into wireframe mode and grab it. Okay, so this is a locator. This is an object that doesn't render, so it's just kind of used for parenting and setting up animations and however you want to, you kind of play with it however you want. So I'm going to parent Neptune to the locator. So all I'm doing here is I'm middle mouse dragging the object onto the other object. So earlier I middle mouse dragged Neptune onto the Sun. So I'm dragging it, in this case, onto the locator. Now I can set a different rotation speed. I can even do reverse, negative 360. So now, and then, what happened? What did I just key? Oh, I don't think I set a key on it. Okay, let me try again. Negative 360, yes. There it goes. So this is actually, now it's orbiting the opposite direction that the Sun is spinning, which is fine. You can kind of pick either direction for your solar systems. As long as I know you can loop it, you can get it to loop. It's all good as far as grading goes. Okay, so same process as before to make it loop forever. So it'll just kind of loop all the time. That's probably good, I think. Did we lose? I think we lost the orbit of Neptune itself. It is keyed. What happened? I'm gonna unparent just to check it. It is spinning. It might have just been a weird rendering artifact thing. Undo, parent it again, cool. So I think we're good on Neptune. Okay, so we'll kind of do the same thing for the moon. Is I'm going to create locator, but I need it to be on the same position as the Earth, and I want it to be exactly the right spot. So there's a handful of ways to do that. What I'm going to do is just parent this locator to the Earth, and then reset its translation. So now I know it's, because it's 0 and it's parented to the Earth, I know it's exactly on the Earth. And then I'm going to unparent it by either middle mouse dragging to a free spot, or you can Shift P. P is parent, Shift P is unparent. I'm going to call this locator Neptune. I forgot to rename this one. Orbit. And this locator is going to be Earth Orbit. Okay, cool. No, this is Moon Orbit. I'm going to do that one first. Okay, so I want the moon to be parented to Moon Orbit, and then I can key Moon Orbit at whatever speed I want, 360. Again, I'll make it, didn't S for set key. Whoop. Make it loop, make it linear. All right. Cool. So I like that the moon, I know the moon is offset on the axis. You see how it's just flat and lined up with the sun? I want to offset it. So I'll show you what I think doesn't work. Deleting all the curves except the one that is animated, so I can play with stuff. And I think if I tilt it, it does do something interesting to the moon, where it's kind of up above the planet, which is it's kind of cool. Where's Earth? I want to create another locator, but I want it to like be orbiting the center of the mass of the planet, because gravity, you know, the physics just doesn't make any sense when it's up on the top like that. I mean, it might be physically possible, but I'm pretty sure the moon kind of crosses the center of the Earth more. So in order to accomplish that, I'm going to go create locator. This worked last time, we'll try it again. Parent it to Moon Orbit. Reset this stuff. Shift P. So now it's back to kind of its home location. I think if you put Moon Orbit under locator, you can now offset. Oh! Let's see if this works. Offset this guy. Yeah, now it's like a nice even spin around the center mass of the planet. I think we might be able to put Earth in this, so Earth and the moon are both in there. That's not right. Oh, this one. Yeah, here we go. Because Earth's axis, I know, is off from, it's not perfectly lined up. There we go. Cool. Moon. No, Earth. Axis. Offset. This doesn't have to be perfect. It's a bit confusing, and I'm just kind of a little bit just moving around stuff, just seeing what works and what doesn't. as long as I see that you're playing with stuff and trying to get it figured out, I think I'll be okay on the grade. Okay, but now we want the Earth to move around the Sun, so I'm going to create one more locator, center of the Sun, scale it up. I'm going to just rotate this so it's easier to select if I need to get it later. Call it the Earth orbit, parent the Earth. This is kind of like an Earth parent object in the Earth orbit. Then S. Oh, I think offsetting that locator was a bad idea. Let's try that again. Bam. Okay, back to normal. Earth orbit, Earth axis, key. We want to go the same direction. I'm pretty sure it's a law of physics where if they spin, they have to spin the right direction. I'm not actually sure if like every planet always spins the same way around a star, but I'm pretty confident that in a solar system all the planets go the same way. I could be wrong. I'm not sure. It's not a science experiment though. It's just a parenting and 3D motion assignment. So we're all good. Okay. 3060 S. I did it backwards just to match Neptune. Rotation. Linear. Loop. Linear. There we go. Now, is it all good? No, still the wrong way. You might be noticing me hitting this hotkey a bunch of times, comma and period. It goes next keyframe, previous keyframe. I think these are default Maya hotkeys. I'm not 100% sure. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, so Alt, period, or comma moves one frame at a time. Period and comma moves to the next keyframe. So I'm going to, I just moved to line up on that keyframe, -360, S, now it's reversed, now they're both going the same way. Is there anything else? So I want them to not be lined up with each other at the start. So I'm gonna take, I'm also, you might notice I'm selecting stuff from here because it's hard to tell at this point which object to select in the viewport. 3D rigs are set up with controls, so you kind of know what to select when you're working with it. But in this case, I'm just kind of, since I'm creating these objects, I'm grabbing them here so I know I have the right thing. So I want Neptune to start at a different spot. So I'm holding Shift, and then I'm left mouse clicking, and I can drag, and it's making me a selection volume. So if I just grab the first keyframe, I can make Neptune spin faster. Alt-V, it does plays on the timeline. Alt-V stops. So that's Neptune spinning super fast. But I know outer planets usually orbit slower than inner planets. So we want to make sure Neptune's spinning slower than the inner planets. And then we want the start position to be offset. So I'm going Shift, left mouse, drag all the way so I can grab both keyframes. And then I can offset the keyframe, which now it puts Neptune at a different spot at the start of the scene. That way it's always kind of off a little bit. I'm going to add a few, jump out the frame so I can, you'll notice at the end of the timeline, it'll pop. Well, if you're watching the screen, see how it like snaps? Just because the rotations have to line up, but that's really not that important. That's why I just made a long timeline so you can just watch it for a long time and it'll look good. So turn the locators back off, Turn the render back off. Oh, my Earth is not colored. Whoops. Make you green. There we go. And then is the moon. Oh, the moon's orbiting pretty slow. Earth orbit. It does a pretty good job. My sometimes has hard time, but it does a pretty good job at updating the keyframe timing as I'm working. Still not spinning. And let's see. What is going on with my orbit there? Earth orbit. No. Moon axis. Not looping. Let's show the locators. Something's not right. Nice. Let's fix it. Okay, so for starters, I'm going to try and figure out why it's not spinning at the right thing. So I'm going to turn off, that's the orbit around the sun, so I'm going to turn that off by just unparenting the Earth axis offset. It might be some sort of optical illusion deal where, because that's working, it looks like it's spinning correctly, but I want it to move around this, and the moon's moving. It's just, maybe it's just because it's super slow. Moon orbit. It is a lot faster. I might have just been because it was so slow. So I'm going to reparent middle mouse drag onto Earth orbit. Yeah. Show. And then moon orbit. I'm going to reverse it. One way to reverse it is just to switch the keyframes on the sides. I'll zoom in onto that. But it should be going the other way now. I think part of it was, yeah, the direction the moon was going. So you just kind of flip one keyframe over the other, and it'll reverse everything for you. Okay, now let's check it out. I think we're good. Turn off the grid. You want the background to be a different color. You go Window, Settings, Preferences, Color Settings. This second one, I think, is the, yeah, here we go. Save that thing. Hit play. There it is. All good. Turn that off. Cool. There it is. This is what I was showing you guys at the start of the scene, the start of the video. Timer 20 minutes. Yeah, not bad. So maybe if you don't run into too many issues as you're watching this, it might take you an hour to get through to this point. You have to let me know how long it actually takes you when you're working on it. And then it's probably a good idea to do this a few times, like build a few more planets and kind of have fun with it. As far as grading goes, if you can get it to this point, you'll get full credit for the assignment. But you can do as crazy as you want, as long as it has some of this criteria in it. I'll fill out a rubric for the assignment, so you can kind of in your head check off all the check boxes to hit the stuff for the assignment, and then you can like start doing some cool stuff. But yeah, that moon going around the Earth, I'm liking right now. I think that's pretty cool. Cool. So have fun with the solar system. See you guys later.